Hi everyone, it's Christy for the Crafty Maven Getaway, and today I am doing a Scraplift Saturday, and Megan is also doing it, so Crafty Megan. And this is the layout we are scraplifting, and it's from Jamie Pete, or Pate. I think it says Pate. I don't have a colored printer, so I do apologize about that, but that's the layout I'm going to scraplift. And then here is a look at the inspiration. So how I decided to deal with inspiration today is my photos. I took the kind of orangey fall colors, even though this is a summer layout, but the tint and thing I used kind of makes it look like that. And then I'm going to use my 6x6 pad boys rule. This is from crepe paper, and I'm going to use this for the accents within my layout. So I'm going to get you on fast forward.
So again, I'm just going to quickly show you my photos, and remember this, for this one I took from the inspiration piece. That's how I picked my photos. So the layout with color scheme wise with pattern paper and stuff isn't going to really match up with this week's inspiration piece, but my photos did. So the first thing I wanted to do is I knew I wanted to do some sort of a misting to take up those two blocks, and I think that in the original layout Paige had done, I'm thinking it was probably either a piece of pattern paper, or she had probably used like gesso and modeling paste, but I actually don't own either of them, so I'm going to do it just with my stencil and this way. So at first you saw I was going to use the chevron. I then decided I was going to mix things up a bit and use this other pattern because it's not one I've used before, so I wanted to get it used up. And then at first I wanted to try the packaging technique, thinking it would do what I wanted it to, and I realized very quickly that that wasn't going to work. I was going to have to actually spray it. So I picked two colors here. I'm using Mr. Huey's, and it's the cracked pistachio, or that's Tim Holtz, not Mr. Huey's, sorry. Tim Holtz cracked pistachio. And then I used some Heidi Shine in the gold lame. And the reason why I did that is I wanted to kind of bring out the colors of how it's summer and it's like a golden summer. So I just kind of wanted to bring that out. And it was actually the start of summer. So it was just, I just was trying to bring out some gold elements into everything else here. I'm then going to bring in some pattern paper and decide how I want to kind of do my final placement of my photos and everything. I decided right away I wanted to use a frame like Paige did in her layout and highlight the photo of my son being held by Sean. And so I originally was thinking about maybe using that black frame, but it didn't work. The yellow was a better choice. And then I picked from that pattern paper from the Boys Rule collection. All of this is from that. So I picked that really cool wood green chevron, the green and blue starred one, and then also the red you see there as well. Of course, being a 6x6 paper pad, it wasn't going to be long enough to cover up what I wanted to be covered up, so I just simply trimmed it in the middle where I knew you weren't going to see it, and then just slid it over to help kind of unify the look I was going for there. And I'm really happy with the way that turned out as well. And then as I had laid these photos down, I realized I really liked them on an angle like that. So you're going to see that my photos do get angled. And then I figured my title for the layout would fit really well in the top part. And then the date, I really like to put the year things are. I try to use up numbers, so that's why I do that. That doesn't stay there, however, I do end up moving that to another place, and you'll see that in just a moment. And then I'm going to use a few of the cut aparts and go through there. The other thing you're seeing is my huge little basket of scraps, and the reason why is I don't throw away manufacturer's strips, I keep them. And the way I had laid this layout out, there was a bigger amount of margarine at the bottom than there was at the top, and I wanted to kind of even that out, so I simply found a piece that matched Jackson's shirt, which is that really cool like teal color, and then just did a bunch of embellishment at that bottom cluster there. It says Clayton Heights, that's the community we live in, so it was the Clayton Heights Street Fair. And then I add a few extra embellishments just to kind of finish up my page, and I used from the same sticker sheet that I used for the word street, I added some gold in other places to just kind of help tie everything in. And then at the very end, I'm going to do my final embellishments here with some white stars that I just kind of scattered about the clusters, help to bring in a little bit more. And in some places, they're really hard to see because they're on a creamy, that creamy background, but I think it just adds interest. And then I also went and looked at my overlays that I'm trying to get used up. And I found this one that I probably wouldn't have used in any other way, so I just put it on the wood grain square and it fit perfectly. And then put my date back on and finished that title. And then I used another one that says my sweet little one or something along those lines to highlight that main photo as well. And then this piece of paper had staples, and so I'm just simply going to go around and staple where there were already fake staples, and that's going to wrap up my layout. Thanks everyone so much for watching, and I'll be back soon. Bye!